Mr. Buffett, how can I make $30 billion?
Start young. Charlie's always said that the big thing about it is we started building this little snowball on top of a very long hill. So we started at a very early age in rolling the snowball down. And of course, the snowball, the nature of compound interest is it behaves like a snowball of sticky snow. And the trick is to have a very long hill, which means either starting very young or living to be very old. I would do it exactly the same way if I were doing it in the investment world. I mean, if I were getting out of school today and I had $10,000 to invest, I'd start with the A's. I would start going right through companies, and I probably would focus on smaller companies because I would be working with smaller sums, and there's more chance that something is overlooked in that arena. And as Charlie has said earlier, it won't be like doing that in 1951 when you could leaf through and find all kinds of things that just leapt off the page at you. But that's the only way to do it. I mean, you have to buy businesses or little pieces of businesses called stocks, and you have to buy them at attractive prices, and you have to buy them, and you have to buy into good businesses. And that advice will be the same 100 years from now in terms of investing. That's what it's all about. And you can't expect anybody else to do it for you. I mean, people will not tell you about wonderful little investments. It's not the way the investment business is set up. When I first visited Geico in January of 1951, and that rest of that year, I subsequently went down to Blythe and Company, and actually to one other firm that was a leading Geyer and Company, that was a leading analyst in insurance. And I thought I'd discovered this wonderful thing, and I'd see what these great investment houses that specialized in insurance stocks said, and they said I didn't know what I was talking about. It wasn't of any interest to them. You've got to follow your own. You've got to learn what you know and what you don't know, and within the arena of what you know, you have to pursue it very vigorously and act on it when you find it. You can't look around for people to agree with you. You can't look around for people to even know what you're talking about. You have to think for yourself, and if you do, you'll find things. Charlie?
Yeah, the hard part of the process for most people is the first $100,000. If you have a standing start at zero, getting together $100,000 is a long struggle for most people. And I would argue that the people who get there relatively quickly are helped if they're passionate about being rational, very eager and opportunistic, and steadily underspend their income grossly. I think those three factors are very helpful.
No one's ever gone bankrupt without any debt. Now that would take I think you have to give some kind of distinguished service award to somebody who did that. But they had no debt, and I said, it's not going to go to zero. I was wrong when I said it can't go below 15. So we hung on, and within 3 years, they gave out the shares in Kaiser Steel, gave out the shares in Kaiser Cement, gave out the shares in Kaiser Steel and Aluminum, and they sold off all the businesses. You got about $55 a share. But if you didn't know the story, and the stock went from 15 to 11, and you're just saying how much lower can it go, when it went to 9, went to 8, you would have gone. So you can't just say it can't go any lower, because I saw Taco Bell go from 14 to 1 in 1974, and they had no debt and making 60 cents a share.
Oh, inherited wealth and children,
kids inheriting money.
Yeah, well, we have a minority viewpoint down here in the front row. I think my views on that subject changed when I was about 18. Until that point, I thought it would have been a great idea. I am quite a believer in a meritocracy, and I think a part of that is not having people start way ahead of other people in life based on whether they were lucky enough to come from the right womb or not. So I've never been big on the idea that either society benefited or in many cases the kids, although I think that's much more problematic. But by the fact that great transfers of wealth will go from one generation to another. I would rather see the degree of talent possessed by individuals determine the resources they command in this world and their ability to influence other people's lives and command the labor of other people and all of that than any divine right of the womb. So and Charlie has a somewhat different view on that.
Yeah, I am a little more willing to let the world take the succeeding generations down. It's I don't think they need much help.
Charlie believes in passing it along as long as you're sure they're going to blow it. Okay, so go ahead.
If you stop to think, Warren, of the great fortunes of yore, if you go back to 1900, 1870, name me the people that have vast power because they are in the fourth generation in that family. Some of them are living awfully well, but they are not running the world.
I would say the Rockefeller family had considerably more influence than if their name had been, just plain Rock.
Well, I think that's true, but you're picking probably the strongest single family of the piece. And now that it's dispersed among 60 or 70 or 80 Rockefeller, I think it's true. There were 4 or 5 brothers there that had an unusual share of worldly influence. I must say, in that case, I think they handled it very well.
Another thing about it is math, and the kind of math we need to do this. I don't use a computer. I don't have a computer. I really was doing great math. I remember 7 times 7 was 41, and 9 times 9 was 81, and 12 times 12, I think it was 144. So it was some big number. I had that one down cold. I said, this is great. I love this stuff. And the barge left St. Louis going at 8 miles an hour, and the train left Pittsburgh, and this stuff is easy. I remember one day, I think it was 9th grade, it was a grim day. Somebody introduced cosine. God, that day, remember cosine? Does anybody use cosine the last couple of years? Let's have a show of hands. How many of you have used cosine the last 6 months? But I remember tangent and cotangent. Why would you want to know about tangent? And then remember the area under the curve. Remember that crazy calculus area under the curve? What the hell would you want to measure area under the curve for? That is such garbage. You don't need this for the stock market. If you can add 8 and 8 and get fairly close to 16, that's all you need. You say 400 million in debt, no equity, no cash, losing money, forget it. They got 300 million in cash, no debt, 200 million in net worth. They're losing 10 million a quarter, but they'll be around. That's all you need. That's all you need. That is not that hard. If you made it through 5th grade math, you can handle this stuff.